Well, I agree with you. The students are elite. They do have access to privilege. They're not perhaps representative of all students. But that's changing, actually, at schools like USC. You know, when I was growing up, everyone said USC, University of Second Choice. But this year, it was harder to get to USC than UCLA. And we give more financial aid than any school in the country, over $250 million every year. This year's freshman class was majority minority. That means the majority of the students in our freshman class were minorities, just like our city is majority minority. So the idea of USC as sort of just a school of rich conservative students is, I think, no longer the case. So research universities are looking different, and there is a leveling of the playing field happening. But I agree with you, this is going to take some time. This is a generational thing. We're going to have to wait to some extent for millennials to come into power. We're moving towards that, but I think the real excitement we have now is trying to engage with youth in the Middle East, trying to engage with youth in Pakistan. In Pakistan, for example, 100 million people in Pakistan, which is 60% of the country, is under the age of 25. 60% of the country is under the age of 25. 60% of Iran is under the age of 25. So these countries where we are having, I think, troubles in engaging with these countries as a nation, we really should start talking, instead of state-to-state kind of diplomacy, we need to develop people-to-people connections. What technology has been able to do has allowed us to connect our students with students in Pakistan, with students in the Middle East. We did a concert for Pakistan at the United Nations General Assembly Hall in last fall. We had Sting and Jeff Skoll and Deepak Chopra and Salman Ahmed and Gavin Rossendale. And it was an awareness concert to raise funds and awareness for the internally displaced people of Swat, who were displaced after the Taliban came in. So there were 3 million internally displaced people in Pakistan. That was the largest IDP population in the world. The way we were able to do that was connect our students with students in Pakistan, to have a conversation, to get people excited. That concert then broadcast on Pakistan television. And we're able to have conversations and connect people with ideas and ideologies in a way that we never were able to do. So I think that if there's going to be, or when there's going to be that kind of change, even in the Middle East, it has to come from the students, from the millennials, I guess, from the youth, those under 25, in the same way that it's coming from the millennials here. And so this global idea of a millennial generation is a very exciting one, because they do have a lot in common, and they can connect with each other in ways that they have never been able to connect before. The boundaries are kind of falling apart. And one of the things I think that's really driving this is popular culture. So you talked about music. Music is a great unifying force. Popular culture is a great unifying force. In the work that I do with India and Pakistan, I think that popular culture is probably what will help Indians and Pakistanis come together, because Pakistanis are watching Indian movies, and Indians are watching Pakistani soap operas. They're consuming each other's music. They're playing each other on the cricket field. So through sports, through film, through music, through popular culture, we have a new type of public diplomacy. One that's not based on state-to-state intervention, one that's not based on military intervention, but one that's based on an economic integration and a consumption of a global popular culture. So even though there are concerns with globalization, and rightfully so, there's also a remarkable opportunity for people to come together, because they are listening to the same music, wearing the same clothes, rooting for, playing the same sports, etc., and communicating with each other on social networking sites. So I think it will take time, but maybe not as much time as it has in the past because of technology. I think that I think it's going to happen whether we are conscientious or not conscientious about it. What's happening with our students is so many of them come from interfaith families. Their mother is Catholic, their father is Jewish, or they have a Muslim in the family, or they have a Hindu in the family, or they know a Buddhist, or they know a convert. So in the same way that I think colonialism and slavery set the conditions for us to kind of intermix, interbreed, and in a way that helps get over some of the racial hierarchies that we've had in the past, a new type of globalization around religion also is allowing us to sort of intermix in a way that our family looks like the world. You know, my family looks like the world, and our students' families are increasingly looking like the world. And when they start having children, that's also going to look like the world. You know, my cousin went to USC. He married a woman who he met at USC. He's Hindu, she's Muslim. Their parents had a problem with it, but they didn't have a problem with it. And they drove their parents hard on it. And now they have a baby, and that grandchild brought their parents closer to each other. And now our Hindu family goes and celebrates Ramadan with their family. And their Muslim family comes and celebrates Diwali with our family. So it's a beautiful top-up kind of thing that's happening with students. We're pushing their parents, their uncles, their aunts, their grandparents. And I think as they become more engaged with people of other faiths, they're going to push up so that all of us also become more engaged with people of other faiths. Well, I disagree with you that women are not left behind in India. If you've ever been to a low-caste village, you'll see that they are. Women are in purdah. Women have been left behind in every society. We have a patriarchal world. Women are left behind everywhere. So I think there are ways that we can uplift women, and I think that one of the great ways the research university can do that is by empowering women. You know, most of college students today are women. That's a different kind of demographic than we had in the 1960s or the 1970s. More professionally educated women are going into the workplace. Increasingly, women are the bread earners in their families. So I think when the global research university empowers women, then women will be able to connect with each other and help with that. Because women are more aware of the patriarchy that they've been subjected to than we are as men. And as women get the tools and the resources necessary to engage with that, I think we'll start to see some kind of change. We should think about equality for women and be culturally sort of sensitive as to what that means. Our version of equality may not be another cultural version of equality, and people may think of our version as not really being equal anyway. Iran, for example, is a Muslim country, but they have more women in social services, they have more women in parliament, they have more women as police officers and teachers than we do in the United States. And many feminists in Iran choose to wear hijab because they say we want to be represented as a voice and not a body or not a face. You have in the United States women who are struggling with body issues because we keep pushing these unrealistic Photoshop body images upon them. And is that liberated? Is that liberation for women? Is that feminism? Well, it may, we can talk about how other women are oppressed, but we have to look at our own culture and see what we mean by equality in our own culture too. And we have a lot of work to do right here in LA. We don't have to think about Saudi Arabia and Pakistan and Iran. We can think about Santa Monica and Boyle Heights and Culver City. It has been boys, but they're making an effort now to build fields and girls' schools as well. And there's really just this whole excitement about the World Cup, which we're hoping will show Africa as a different kind of place. When we see Africa, or we see South Africa, we see poverty and famine and genocide and HIV/AIDS. But it's such a vibrant and engaging and beautiful place, physically, spiritually, in terms of the people's hopes and aspirations, that we all hope that this World Cup will show a different side of Africa. And what we've also seen is that people are using this World Cup experience and this visibility to help develop social services, to build infrastructure, to build schools, to develop healthcare initiatives. My wife is an HIV/AIDS physician from South Africa. And even 3 years ago, or whenever they announced that the World Cup would be in South Africa, she helped design a campaign that they launched which says, 2010, will you be there in 2010? Will you be there to see it? So basically saying to people, hey, let's take HIV/AIDS awareness seriously, and using 2010, using the World Cup as a way to motivate people to think about this. So I'm thinking about this World Cup as something that could be transformative for a continent in the same way that in South Africa, the World Cup of Rugby, which was depicted in Invictus recently, was transformative for a post-apartheid country. So there's a lot that I think can come of it, and I hope that one of those things is also supporting and enhancing women's school, girls' schools and girl educations.